the issue that's been coming up repeatedly as the conversation has proceeded this morning on the power of the purse. It's obvious to me, I've been working in budgeting. Perhaps I need to make a confession here that I did work in the executive branch. And I worked on budgeting in the executive branch at the Office of Management and Budget. And that required me to oversee quite a bit of spending. And I think a lot of the criticisms that have been made about the process are actually very, very accurate. And so this power of the purse that is the subject of this panel is probably the number one issue that needs to be addressed. There's so much decision-making that is now reduced to just a few people at the end of the year in closed rooms with little accountability and no process for the public to see it through their representatives' eyes. And so much of it feels like it's broken, and many ideas are starting to bubble up to try to begin to address it. And so let's get started on that by turning first to Representative Mia Love. We'll have her go first and describe some of her thinking around this subject, and we will then proceed to the other panelists in turn.
Thank you for allowing me to be here today. I'm really excited about this project, and certainly excited about the prospect of restoring Article 1 of the Constitution back to the United States government. One of the things that Senator Mike Lee talked about was excluding the American people from the process. One of the issues that I believe that has made it very difficult and has excluded the American people are these large must-pass bills at the 11th hour, some of them actually on autopilot. And one of the frustrations that I have is all of the other pieces of legislation that's tacked on to the must-pass bills. Pieces of legislation that Congress can't read, let alone the American people, so that they can actually let their representatives know exactly what is going on. It's really interesting with my thinking is getting back to the process. What I've realized is every vote that we take really doesn't matter unless we restore the Constitution back into our government. I dropped a bill that I actually thought would go nowhere. It's one subject at a time, Bill, just to kind of see if we can clear the air a little bit and allow the American people to be part of the process again. Allow for us to talk about bills, to vote down bills without holding hostage our military, without holding hostage to things that we actually should be legislating on, which is our military and some of the few powers that are, I should say, issues that Washington should be taking care of. Very limited pieces of legislation. Really interesting is that I dropped this bill and I started messaging out to Utah, and I found that it's actually spread like wildfire. Not just conservatives that are really attaching themselves to this bill, but liberals on the other end that are tired of their representatives voting for legislation that they don't want them to vote. Talk about getting back accountability again. There's no reason why we should vote for a highway bill attached to XM. There's no reason why we should have these large must-pass bills where you have a Speaker of the House that says we should pass it before we understand what's in it. That is not how government was meant. That's not how our government was set up. So I have to go to those markups, by the way. My chairman left those markups, but I believe that there's good news here. So I believe that this bill is actually getting some legs, not by Congress, but the American people, which will force Congress to hopefully get this bill to the floor, but it'll start to clear the way. And restoring the Constitution, I want to warn everyone that restoring the Constitution, especially Article 1 of the Constitution, doesn't mean that we will not make mistakes. That's not what that means. It's far from it. As a matter of fact, our country has made many mistakes, but it allows us that when we do make the mistakes and when government starts to reign over the American people under the large umbrella of the Constitution, we have the ability, the people have the ability to restore that, to fix that problem. And so I want you to know I'm excited. I've got a lot of hope for this country because the people that are sitting next to me and the people that are working in Congress, I have to let you know that there are some great people there, and I'm honored to be part of this process. It's our responsibility to make sure that we preserve this great country for all of our children, especially my 3 that are at home that are expecting me to do something about it. So I want to thank you. Thank my Senator, Mike Lee, for involving me in this project. He's a great partner, and I'm excited about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.